Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to have you all here today. Welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. So today we're doing an Ask Kim segment. And so many of you will write in, email me, text me, call. I actually had like 3 conversations this morning with people that ask questions. And they're genuine questions that probably everyone just wants to know some of the answers to. And each of those conversations and questions, I thought, we can do an Ask Kim segment. And hopefully, as you, as a busy mom or as a busy woman, and you're an executive, you're out doing all kinds of things, wearing many hats, roles, responsibilities, things that are required of you. People are pulling on you and you need to be pulled on some, and you need to show love some. A lot of stuff that we're responsible for, and lots of needs that need to be met. So having an Ask Kim segment, hopefully I'll be able to answer some of your questions and be able to help you on this thing called life, this journey that we all call life. So we'll jump right in and see any questions that you all have. And I know people, again, I've had a few conversations today, one question that someone called and asked was, I'm really, really frustrated. I feel like I am in quicksand, is what the person actually said. And now it's like a mudslide where the quicksand is kind of trying to overtake me. And what can I do to still keep everything together mentally? And I'm working to make this happen, but how do you make it happen when you feel like you're sinking? Whew, great question. Anybody relate to that question out there in the studio audience? Because I know we all have experienced times when we feel like we're in quicksand and it's over our head. But what I said to the person, and please feel free, everyone, chime in and answer from your perspective too. But what I said to the person is, listen, in life, I know that God allows us to be in whatever the season is of our lives. We don't always know why we're in a particular season or why we are experiencing certain circumstances. But at the end of it all, we know that we're here for a purpose. We're being used by God for a reason in all of the different scenarios of our lives. And I can only, again, anything that I'm sharing is from me personally, Kim. These are not the views of the show or CTR Media Network or Believe in Your Dreams Television or Lit TV or any of the networks that I am affiliated with. This is simply Kim Jacobs' opinion, okay? So I personally feel that I don't belong to me. So it's okay, because whatever I experience, I know that God is in control of my ultimate life and my destiny. And this life is temporary. And so at the end of it, for me, I know that I have another ultimate destination, somewhere that I'm going to be for my eternal existence. And so when I personally look at me going through this life, I look at it as an honor and a privilege, and it's temporary. It's something that this too shall pass. So at the end of it all, this has been where I was meant to be for such a time as this, but this is only for such a time as this, if that makes sense. Okay. So anything that I do, I believe that God knows in advance that it's going to happen. And he allows us the opportunity to learn from our experiences, to glean from them, and to figure out how we can get better along our journey. So I encourage the person to look at what you do have going on that's right, some things that are powerful about you that only God created you to do. And that's the case with all of us. There are some gifts and some talents that He's only placed down inside of you. And He expects for you not to wallow in it and dwell in the things that you don't do well. But what about what He did gift you with? What about the fact that you can make a tremendous difference on this earth because He put something inside of you that only you are capable of manifesting, as people say, or bringing to the universe, or bringing to the world, or bringing to the atmosphere, or bringing to your group, or to your church, or to your school, or to your job? And you and your voice makes a difference. So focus on the things that bring the value of what God put inside of you to this world. That's what I would say to that. Don't don't wallow in, oh, I'm defeated. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm not good enough in this area. Focus on the fact that, good gracious, you gave me the ability to do this gift, or to use this talent. This is something I know everybody else. I don't know people that do this like that easily, but guess what? You do. And that's why the whole world will miss out if we don't get the opportunity to have you use the gifts and the talents that He put inside of you, because He trusts you with those gifts. So that was my answer. But I talked very specifically, given that I was talking directly to a person, but I don't want to reveal who the person is. Okay. All right. So there are supernatural gifts and favor that has been thrust upon your life, and talents that you have that He trusts you with. So execute on those things and focus on those things, not what you don't have. What do you have? That's my answer. All right. Let's see. Questions that may come in even from the studio audience. Let's see. Let's see. Keep up the good work. Yeah, you keep up the good work yourself, Pamela Howard. I see you out there. I'm so glad you commented. You keep up the good work because you're an amazing, amazing young lady who has so many gifts and talents. I think God put some extra super duper talents in you. So I'm excited because it's also, He gives everybody, like we know about the parable and the talents. And so one was given one, and then five, and then so you, it's like you have all of these different options, because He's like, this is what I'm leaving you with, this is what I'm leaving you with, this is what I'm leaving you with, what are you going to do with it? And sometimes it's easy to bury our talents and say, oh, you know what, I don't want to make a mistake and do something wrong, and then so I better just put that there to the side and wait and see. But it's a beautiful thing when you say, okay, this is the gift and this is the talent. How am I going to use it and multiply it so that I can be able to see what God had in store for that particular aspect of my life? So I'm excited when that happens. And I look at each of the different gifts and talents that He gave me. Some of them I'm like, okay, you can't spread yourself but so thin. So you have to figure out what's going to be the big things that you want God here to focus on, and even the little things that may be a blessing to other people in different regards. But being able to multiply those talents and hearing, well done, thy good and faithful servant, at the end of it all is what I know our ultimate goals are. Let's see. Good morning, beautiful queen. Good morning to you, mom. My mom's on. Yes, you are God and my child, God's child and my child. Yes. I feel like my grandma Key, she'd be like, girl, she said, that's so nice. She'd be talking through her teeth. That's so nice. And whenever we're at birthday events and stuff over the years, she would say, Kim, tell them that's so nice. But she wouldn't say it with her mouth open like this. She would say, Kim, tell him that's so nice. That's so nice. Anyway, Mom, glad you're on. Thank God for you. I'm so honored to have you as my mom. All right. Any of you all have questions, pop them in the comments section. And what I will do is I'll also copy the link in case you want to come on screen and ask your question directly. I have quite a few questions that's come in. One was, how do I apologize if I truly know that I hurt someone's feelings? Okay. How do you all apologize out in the studio audience? Talk to me. Tell me, what are some ways, if you know that you give people the benefit of the doubt, right? And anytime you are, especially if you're with your spouse or you're with your family members or your parents or your children or just a great friend of yours, the goal is never to hurt the person's feelings. And so if you see that they love you, you love them, and y'all have this really good synergy and stuff, and all of a sudden something happens and the person's left in cry mode or disarray or disappointment, what do we do to try to resolve that and rectify it? That was a question that came in. So let's see, anybody in the comment section, what do you all do when you know that you hurt someone's feelings? I want to hear your comments and your answers to that. And I'll give you what I think as well. But let me get us some interaction going here. Good morning to you, Facebook user. Put your name too, so I'll know who you are and I can acknowledge you by name. And you all share this broadcast because all we're doing, we're having conversation with questions that's come in on people that want to know how they're balancing different roles and responsibilities. What are some of the outcomes of how they're balancing their lives? And they've been writing questions in to me, and I'm just simply answering those questions. So, and let me know if this is even something that's beneficial to you all to do an Ask Kim segment, because if you don't want to know the answers, then it defeats the whole purpose, right? So let me know if this works for you all too. What do you do when someone is hurt by something that they say you're the reason that my feelings are hurt? It's not just some random hurt. I'm hurt because of you hurting my feelings. So what we're going to do is we'll take a quick commercial break. And then I will come. I see you. Good morning to you. What I'll do is come back and answer the question from my perspective and hopefully a few answers from your perspective. We'll be right back after this commercial break. We'll see you.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented. And I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work, work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right. So we're back and let's answer that question. What do you do if you know that you've hurt someone's feelings because they let you know that their feelings are hurt because of you? What do you do in that situation? So let's see. What I do is I recommend, well, this isn't what I always have done, but what I recommend gets done after doing some soul searching here is just make sure that you seek to understand from the person where the breakdown kind of occurred and ask. I would say, what did I do that made you feel the way that you're feeling, so that the person understands that you care about what they are saying they are experiencing, that you're not just dismissing it, saying, well, that's just your issue, I can't believe you feel that way, or that's not true. If that's the approach that you take, then it's going to make it more antagonistic with an even worse outcome that could possibly have you lose that relationship, and you don't want that to be the case. And then another thought was just saying, what is a solution, so that way we're not finding ourselves in this position every time we have this particular trigger happen, because there's some things that you say or do that are triggers for a person, but you don't even know that you're triggering that person because you don't know what their triggers are. But once they make it known to you that this is what is bothering me, then some kind of way you have to stay out of that zone or that area where you're constantly triggering that person. And even sometimes it's an environment. If you realize that every single time you get you ride past an exit and you're in the car and you're riding past an exit and something, and that exit may trigger, I'm just making up something since, simple, but it may be that you get in the car, and in the car is the time that we're both relaxed and we're thinking we're getting ready to have this great road trip experience. But then it really is also the time to finally talk and vent and express stuff about things that's been going on in life. And that environment sometimes may be a no talk zone about certain things, because now you're in closed confinement and you don't get a chance to get out because you're in the same space for hours upon hours. This happens a lot with couples. If you are in the car and you know that every time you and your significant other and are in the car, you end up some kind of way arguing, then there may be some topics that you don't want to discuss in the car, because you already know that it's going to lead to an argument, because it consistently does. So you want to be mindful of those kinds of things, and just maybe set a designated time to talk about something that's really been pressing on your heart. That maybe you said, can we talk about this topic? So that gives the person a chance to prepare mentally, and it gives you a chance to prepare going into the topic, knowing that this is what we're going to talk about. So I think that's important, scheduling that time to talk about issues versus letting it become an issue that has to now become someone's feelings being hurt. That would help a lot. And then also just maybe reminding the person that the goal is to keep the relationship intact. So whatever resolution needs to happen is what needs to happen, from the asking for forgiveness part and gaining clarity, so that you and the person can have a good relationship at the end of the whole debacle. That's the goal, not to have you walk away and them walk away, never talking to each other again. Okay. So some things that you might want to say is like, I personally want to let you know that I'm regretful. I'm disappointed that I hurt you in any way, and I seek to find resolution from you as to how I can get better. So that way you're not saying, "Look, I don't know what your problem is. I don't know what happened, but what I thought happened was." That's not going to work. Everybody's going to blow up, and it's going to be a bad outcome. Okay. And again, this is Kim's philosophies that I'm sharing with you on Ask Kim segment today. Let's see what some of your thoughts were. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe I'll just play a little bit of this copyright free music. Yeah. Hold on, let's see. Okay. Let's see what Pamela Howard had to say. She said, I just apologize and share why I may have responded the way I did. I have learned that by sharing why you responded or reacted a certain way towards someone, once they learn, they may not realize that what sparked you caused the reaction. Okay, very great answer, Pam. Thank you. Other answers are, it may be both parties. It make both parties aware of how to respond to one another. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, making both parties aware of what's the trigger and what's the problem is definitely something that I agree with that philosophy. Just making sure we're both aware. All right. Someone else asked, how do I make time for myself? Someone asked that. I'm always making time for, and let me know if that music is too loud or anything. Is that okay? But someone said, look, I'm always making time for everyone else. I have children, I have my family members, church members, co-workers, my friends, and all kinds of professional organizations. I'm making time for everyone else. How do I make time for me? The way that I make time for me is I schedule it. If I don't schedule the time, then it won't happen. Just like I schedule appointments with other people, I schedule time for me. And until you put that on your calendar, I don't know how you just can make some time happen, because I don't operate like that. I definitely am spontaneous, and I love doing that when it's appropriate. But because I wear so many different hats and everything is kind of compartmentalized. But when I say compartmentalized, let me be clear. When I open my eyes every single day, I ask God first and foremost, what is your will for my day? What is your purpose for me? What is the thing you need me to learn and do as I am representing you throughout today? That's the main thing. So no matter what scheduling and procedures and all of this stuff, we can do all kinds of scheduling all we want, and life still can happen. So we have to have some level of flexibility when it comes to our schedules, because there are some things we have to get done, but no matter what we think we have to get done, when something trumps that, whether it's an emergency with your child, emergency at work, emergency with all of these emergencies that are unforeseen, then it sometimes takes precedent over what we thought we were going to do that day. And it's a simple shift, a change. It's what you have to do, whether you want to or not, whether it's intentional or unintentional. You have to make some immediate adjustments, because now somebody's stranded, somebody got in an accident, somebody passed away, whatever. You got to go and make an adjustment on whatever schedule you had. But the way that I think it works best is putting yourself on your own calendar and saying, this is the time that I'm going to do this. Yesterday, I said, this block of time right here, I'm going to the movies. And I wanted to go to a movie. And guess what? I looked at my whole calendar and I was like, what block of time can I make that happen? And guess what? It was this one little window of time. Actually, I booked a movie and I realized that the movie was 3 hours and 40 something. I was like, what kind of movie is that? I asked for a refund on that. I was like, no, not that one. That right there is a full day event. But it's based on a true story and all of this stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, but not in my little window of time. I needed a little short movie, you know? So scheduling that time with yourself, putting it on your calendar and making it happen. It works. And then it gives you, as the person that's overseeing so many other areas in life, it actually gives you the opportunity to be more refreshed, more open-minded, more revitalized, and able to take on some of the questions and issues and things that people may need to pull from you to be better in their situations. Okay? So when you take time for you, think about things that you enjoy doing. Maybe some of the things that you enjoy doing back in the day. For me, I certain things I really enjoyed doing in my childhood. I try them now and I fail a couple of times and I'm like, I don't know if I'm good at that one no more. But certain things I loved, and I'm gonna reincorporate some of those and test them out and see if I can get back in the groove with it and see how that works. But think about things that brought you excitement and fun moments back in your younger years that you can start slightly infusing into some of your adult life. That might bring a smile to your face as well. Then you're more excited about working with other people and helping them with some of the issues that they have. Let's see. Anybody in the studio audience chime in? Oh, let's see. Pam said, I just apologize and share why I feel I've learned that. Okay, so I saw that. Excellent. Okay. Any other comments, even pertaining to how do you make time for yourself? How do you all make time for yourselves out in the studio audience? For me, I told you I schedule my own time with me. I'll go to lunch somewhere. And usually if my mom, if she's in town or something, will go with me. Or if one of my kids want to go, they will. If they don't, they don't. It's okay. My friends will go sometimes, but a lot of times I'll go by myself somewhere I have a taste for. And then I'll go and definitely go to a movie now in my 50s. I hadn't done that, like I said, since I was 18 years old. Never went to the movies by myself. Always gone to the movies with family. So I never ever went by myself. Before that, I was just always with my spouse at the time. So now I go and I'll just enjoy a movie and some popcorn and a drink and enjoy myself. And if my mom will go with me, I'm so grateful, and that's a blessing. But definitely love just enjoy myself. I like, certain things. I'm not going to list everything that I like, because I'm not trying to give anybody necessarily a playlist, right? But you get the point, right? I do what I like. How about that? And that makes me happy and excited about life and what I have going on. My husband gets the kids for me to take an uninterrupted shower. Mackenzie is a mom of two, married to Trent, and he gives her a moment to just whoosh. Calgon, take me away moments. Okay. So I can imagine you, Mackenzie, you in there like, hey, shower over here, shower over here. Yay, with no kids crying. That's awesome. Okay, Dayron, you said I owe myself some time balance, doctor. I've been busy lately. Dayron Swan, who is he over there masterful on those reels and doing all kinds of things with his book and his project. And this man is somebody you want to know about what you need to know about jail. That's some good stuff that's in that book, 101 Things That You Need to Know About Jail, that he's enlightening everybody in the world about. We all need to know these things, right? Because we all know somebody that has experienced jail or coming from jail. You got a lot of stuff in the book you want to read and hear about. So go check it out. Thank you, Dayron Swan. And there's some kind of reel out there that he just did for me recently. So you can check it out on my social media pages as well, that he just put together late in the midnight hour. See, you helping a sister out, but you over there working hard. So you need to get that time schedule for yourself. Any other questions that's come in so far? Thank you for that comment, Dayron. Any questions? Another question. You know what? Let's do this. Pop your questions in the comments section if you have some. And we're going to take another commercial break from one of our episode sponsors, and we'll be right back with more of Ask Kim. Some of the questions that matter the most to you in the virtual studio audience. You've been writing in, I got all kind of notes and stuff people have been writing and asking me questions. So we're going to keep right on and answer some more of your questions right after this break. We'll be right back. All right. I know one thing. Everybody loves that coffee from the V Products store. So I don't know. I get more comments from that commercial and people purchasing that actual product. So I'm gonna put the information up. It's vproducts.store. vproducts.store. They have black coffee and mushroom infused coffee. So make sure you all go and check out our episode sponsor, vproducts.store. And also we had attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. If you're dealing with disability, workers' compensation plan, a wrongful death of a loved one, make sure that you are, especially if you're in the Carolinas area, Alabama, Richmond, Virginia area, call them at 704-457-5000 and let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. All right, those are two of our episode sponsors. I do want to take a moment to encourage you all to support and pour into the Kim Jacobs Show. The only way that we are able to have this program come on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time is by community contributors like yourself. So any amounts that are donated are helpful, and they help us with our production, with our team, with some of the things, the marketing materials, different things that we need in order to be able to have the show thrive and flourish and to help bring balance to this world. I think the guests that I bring on are guests that speaks volumes to our studio audience. These people are beyond helpful with sharing their backstories And then they share things that they have, some of them, many of them have been traumatically had to overcome some things to become who they are now. And who they are now is miles beyond what happened to them in their childhood or in their lifetime. And they're sharing their expertise and their tips on the Kim Jacobs Show daily. So make sure you all support our program. You can Cash App at Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can also send a PayPal, paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. And you can also do Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, become a Patreon member on our YouTube channel. You get a chance to sign up for different membership levels as well, which is the Kim Jacobs Show YouTube channel. And you get some private type of interaction with me as well when you sign up for those. So thank you all so much for your willingness to, if as I see different people contribute, I always will do some shout outs. Charlena, yesterday, I just want to shout you out and say thank you so much for your contribution. Allison, you're always so supportive. And I just want to say thank you. There are a lot of people that pour into the Kim Jacobs Show, and all of you that contribute. I'll continue to just list and name people and stuff. But thank you so much for your support. All right. All right. So back to questions. Somebody else asked me, what was another question that came in? One person said to me, they were asking me, what do I do when I feel like I'm not good enough? And I know that I'm giving my all, but I don't feel like it's enough. When I think of that, I think of the fact that, again, that we have certain gifts and talents that's within us. So you are more than good enough, and you're great enough because it's what God gifted you to do and who he has created you to be. It's not even just about what we do. It's about whose we are. And because we are fearfully and we're wonderfully made, we are already created in the image of our creator who knows everything about us. He already knows that he formed us in our mother's womb and who we would become, and that there's no other replica of us. So each and every one of us are important and invaluable. We are all needed on this earth to make the earth operate and function at the level that it's meant to function. So if we're all operating in our own individual God-given gifts and talents, it's not about me competing with any brother or sister on this earth. There's room for all of us to exist, to coexist, to be diverse, to use the gifts and the talents that God put inside of us. So I'm never better. I'm not better than any other person on this earth, but nobody's better than me. So I don't embrace the philosophy that, oh, I'm better. I get thee behind me type of thing. Are you crazy? No, I'm no better than any other person walking on this earth, but neither are you. You're no better than me. I may have situations or circumstances that make it look like, oh, whoa, what you got going over there? You riding on a golf course, you do da da da. It's a lot of things that look a great way, and they may be a great way in that particular person's life because they have been afforded whatever circumstances God allowed them to have in their lifetime. On the flip side, someone else may be in dire straits and have horrible circumstances and situations. Does not mean that they are less than the person that's a billionaire or a millionaire. I will hug a homeless person the same way I will hug the president of the United States, because I believe that God has no respecter of person. And what he can do for one person, he can do it for you. You cannot make me believe, you can't make me believe that God has that person's interest better than mine, or mine better than yours. We just have different seasons that we go through. And those are just temporary. And God already knew that we would be in those moments. So I hope I'm helping you by answering these questions on the Ask Kim segment. Okay, let's see. And I was trying not to cry, but I'm like, Lord have mercy, Kim, get the cloth. Okay, let me just. Let me see. Yeah, it's important to know that if you can embrace that, especially when you're going for a job. If I can encourage you, if you're applying for a job, when I have applied for jobs and stuff, I'll get hired. I get hired on the spot. You know why? Because they are regular people who they just have something in a role that is something that I may desire to have, but equally they should be super grateful to also have me because I'm going to bring value to their organization as well. So I think it's all in how we look at things and how we put things in perspective. That's my answer to that. You have everything you need inside of you to be what God created you personally to be. That's it. It's not about anybody else around you. It's what he has for you. Be the best version of you that God created you to be and walk in that. And if you don't know what that is, ask somebody. God, ask somebody, some people that he's assigned to you, your friends, people that care about you, that you know have your best interest at heart. You know who got your best interest in heart, who has, I'm sorry, you know who has your best interest at heart. You know who you think is going to tell you the truth about you. So ask. In my book, Extreme Balance Makeover, this is a book that I actually, all this is tips that I shared when I was on NBC as the balance expert, and they would send me out to do balance makeovers, like kind of like the super nanny type of thing in families' homes, and I would assess their situations and give solutions. But those tips that I would share are in that book, and that book is on kimjacobshow.com if you want to get a copy of it. kimjacobshow.com is like a Shopify store, and you can get that copy of that book. And another book actually called Rise Up: Women Who Lead Building Legacy. My children pretty much wrote that chapter from their perspective of me as their mom type of thing. So anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Ask Kim segment, and I don't forget. What was I talking about? Let's see. Yeah, nobody's better than anybody else. That's the point. So ask God what he has for you, because what he has for you, he doesn't have respect or a person. So somebody's situation may be better off than somebody else's, but it does not negate the fact that what he has for you is super special. He wants to blow your mind. He wants to leave you wobbly kneed. And he just wants you to trust him that he's going to do it. And ask, knock, seek, and let these doors be opened, and you'll find out what God has in store for you. All right, let's see comments. Any comments? Any comments coming in? Let's see. All right. What would you do as a parent if your child comes up and says they are sexually active? Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. If your child says that they are sexually active, first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that you appreciate their honesty, because you want to have an open door and an open line of communication with your children. So to start bashing them and saying, well, you need to make sure you protect it and you blah 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 blah, and going in on them. I think it's important to say, first of all, thank you for trusting me enough as your parent for you to confide in me and talk to me about this, because I want our relationship to be one that is open and honest. And then from there, we can come up with some solutions. And so what I would recommend is finding out how that's been going for you. Like my one child, he'll say, how that working for you, mama? Right. So how has that been working for you from a perspective of having yourself intertwined with somebody else, and how is it making you feel at the end of all of this happening? Are you feeling like you're edified or belittled or left hanging? Now it was just like I did this, and bye, see you in school. See you when I see you. I enjoyed being able to conquer you or conquer the quest or whatever. Just having some conversation with your child, finding out if it's been unprotected or protected, and what the process is to make sure that the child is properly protected, and also encouraging and reassuring and reiterating, I think is the right word. Yeah. Reiterating the importance of having your body be a vessel to abstain from certain things so that you don't have to encounter things that you shouldn't have to encounter at your age, because that's not really for you to have to encounter those things if you would just make some choices that would lend to you not being in that predicament. I would talk to my child about positioning, and when you put yourself in certain positions, you're going to have certain outcomes. And so if you don't want those outcomes, then you have to properly position yourself to make sure that you're not found in precarious positions where maybe it's one male friend or one female friend at this point, but others are joining in and stuff is being set up and different things happening. A lot of stuff can happen when you start deep diving into stuff that maybe you should not be even involved in. So I would have those kind of conversations with my child. I would definitely, if from a spiritual perspective, encourage abstinence and say, this is what I believe I've been training you to do, and I really would like for you to honor that. And even if you've already did this because you've come to me and talked to me about it, let's just pick up from here and restart and reclaim your vessel, reclaim your body, reclaim the fact that from this day forward I'm going to do this, and it's okay. But if the person is going to do what they're going to do regardless, then as a parent, there are different schools of thought, and I'll answer from both schools. One is, you're on your own and you're going to do it anyway. Do what you want to do what you're big enough and grown enough to do. That's one approach people take. And don't be telling me about it. I do not agree with that. That's Kim's personal philosophy. I do not agree with that approach, in my personal opinion. Or let's come up with a plan of what's going to happen here, and let's talk it through, and let's make it a plan that you're going to honor, because we can talk all day long, but if you're not going to honor it, it defeats the purpose. So I would have those kind of conversations with my child if she or he was sexually active. Did I answer your question? I hope I did. Let's see. Anybody else had any thoughts about the sexually active comment that was coming in before we go to the next question? What are your thoughts in the studio audience? How would you handle that if you had a child that's sexually active? My straw is stuck on the ice. Okay. How would you handle? I definitely would take my child to a doctor, of course, and encourage that even the physician and even a therapist or someone possibly get involved too, with just some other words of encouragement that maybe would be beyond what I would be able to say even as a parent. So that's something too. A pastor, if you're in your church and actively involved in your church, maybe having your pastor or whoever they assign as the counselor in the church to talk with your child also. Their mentors. So it's a lot of other people that form a village that can help with situations like this too. But the only thing I definitely would not do is make the child feel like they should have never brought it to you, because that defeats the purpose of not having that open door communication. And I would also, and I talk about this actually in this book, not about sexually active, but just about parent-teen relationships. And one thing is your teenager, if that's the case in this case, they want to know that they can come to you and it stays with you. So some kind of way you would need to get permission from your child to say, how do you want me to handle this? Do you want me to involve our pastor? Do you want me to involve your dad or your mom? You need to figure out what the teen wants, because they're coming to you because they trust you. But for you to then take it and go tell grandma and uncle and auntie, she over there having some sex, and then that's like, now nobody trusts anybody, because it's like, I can't bring anything to my own mother. without her spilling the beans to her bestie or to her her family members, and now it's a topic of discussion about me. All right, next question. What do you think of homeschooling and the mom staying home with all the school shootings? Whoa, that's a great question. You know, I never, that's why it's so important to never say never, because I had a friend, well, it's still my same friend, Sean, my bestie. But anyway, she used to homeschool. And I was like, girl, I would never be homeschooling nobody. I ain't doing that. Now, I'm not nobody's homeschool mom. Y'all, what did I become? A whole homeschool principal, not just a mom. I was a principal. I'm like, ah! So you can never say never in situations, because we don't know what the future holds for any of our lives to be able to say definitively, this will never happen. Okay. Only God knows. We only know in pieces and part. But my answer is homeschooling in the midst of all of these school shootings and with COVID, not just the school shootings, but with COVID and everything, has kind of become a, a really viable option for parents to consider. And so, yes, I definitely think that homeschooling is a great option if you and your family are able to come up with a plan that's going to work, where you're not having to struggle financially while you're doing the homeschooling. So if there's like, okay, this is the plan, this is the family unit, and you're going to go and do this, I'm going to do this remotely at home, and be able to manage the children from a homeschool perspective while I maybe do this remote job situation, and carve out specific designated school hours for the children, especially if you're going to be doing the hands-on curriculum yourself and you're pulling out the flashcards and teaching. There are different programs out there that you can also do that have video lessons with the teachers coming on, and the students are learning in that regard too. And depending upon your children's ages, because teenagers that are being homeschooled is very different than younger children. I saw a family yesterday doing a homeschooling, but she had flashcards out, binders, all of the different subjects she was covering on that day, very hands-on. But then there are some that are more like computer based, and they work at your own pace, but they show you in real time what the activity and the lesson is that the child is working on. So there are all different types of programs out there. Uh, as far as doing it, yes, I think homeschooling is a great option, an alternative if you're concerned about school shootings and COVID and medical things. But let me put this in perspective. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can be in the grocery store, you can be in the mall, you could be at home, right in your yard. It can be anytime, you can be driving down the street. We don't know at all when our time is going to be for us to leave this particular earth. So we can't, if you're doing homeschooling or anything because of fear that something's going to pop off and you're trying to prevent it from popping off, we're not in control of those things that pop off for any. We're not the final say of when these things are going to transpire in our lives. So I would not do anything because of fear, because I believe that God hasn't given us that spirit of fear, but that we have a sound mind and that we can operate in knowing that He is the author, He is the finisher of our faith, and that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Period. That's how people say, period. All right. So I don't believe that we should operate in a spirit of fear. And because of this, I'm gonna do this. Oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Do I get scared? Yes, I do get scared in situations because they're scary. You're like, whoa, I don't want to be sitting there watching all this horror stuff. This right here is a lot. There's a whole lot happening. And so certain things I just steer clear of because I don't want to deal with it. If I see something that looks dangerous, I'm not going to be like, well, God has not given me the spirit of fear. I'm coming in with the cavalry. That's not what I'm saying. I'm going in the opposite direction because I'm not trying to be in the midst of all of this trauma and drama. But I wouldn't necessarily do it just because of something, if that makes sense. All right. Hope I answered that. But homeschooling, if you do want to do homeschooling, I know some great homeschooling coaches out here, and they help you set everything up from A to Z, and it makes it like a really smooth process. You get a student like teacher ID. I know I was getting discounts because I have homeschooled two of my children. So we got to go on field trips and discounts at different places like the aquarium and things like the go-karts and stuff that you would just make a nice field day of it, going to museums and taking IDs. So it's a lot of fun things to do when you are homeschooling. You can go skating, bowling, and you get these nice discounts if you have your teacher ID. So let me know if you're interested in anything to do with homeschooling, and I can connect you to a homeschool coach. All right. Any other questions come in? These have been some great questions, everybody. Let's see. Let's take another. I see it says Mackenzie back there. Let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and play this myself, Mackenzie, backstage. Let's go to another break. We'll be right back.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right. We are back and we're having our Ask Kim segment. You all have asked some wonderful questions. Should you homeschool in the midst of the shootings? It's a lot of great questions you all have asked, and I'm pleased to be able to answer them. Having a child with that's sexually active, how do you handle that? That was a great question. I think I've deep dived and answered a whole lot of them, and again, sharing them from my personal perspective. Another question that came in. Oh, wait, somebody just asked another question. What is it? Pop it up. Let's see. What is it like being a Black woman in America? Oh, you know what? For me, that's a great question. I never really thought about it like that. But anyway, what it's like for me personally, and again, these are my own personal views on the Ask Him segment, so I'm giving you my own answers. But what it's like for me is an honor and a privilege to be able to in some instances be very different than those that are around me, and then also being very similar to some of those that are around me, because I feel like God has given me the ability to help women in particular understand that no matter what the circumstances are that we're presented with in life, no matter how bleak it may look or dire the straits may be or whatever, that we are able to overcome so many odds, and that God trusts us. He trusts me. I'm as an African American female woman, mother of 5 children, business entrepreneur, all of these hats that I wear, mother dreamer, you name it, eWomen Network, managing director, all the travel, all of the stuff that I do. At the end of the day, God trusts me enough, regardless of whatever skin color I have, whatever inner being stuff I got going on in here. He believes in me enough for me to be able to be a walking Bible, in my opinion, to be an example of what he wants to have happen through me to impact the masses. So I didn't really look at myself as I'm black or I'm white or I'm whatever. I just look at me being a being. And I'm so grateful to be God's being and to be able to be used of God regardless of my skin color. Now, skin color obviously plays a factor for people, and I act just like it doesn't actually. I just be like, I act like everybody love me, and I know I love everybody. So I act just like everybody's my best friend. People be like, I'm like, hello, how are you? Are you having a great day? Da da da. And I'm just going on with my life. And actually, believe it or not, as this black girl, right? I was voted senior class president at James Madison University. And that's a huge deal because it's predominantly white campus, right? But I believe that along the whole time, and I wasn't doing it because I was trying to run for an office, I would speak to every single person. I'd be like, hi, are you having a great day? How are you doing? Your day's going great. Some people totally ignored me. They just walked past and were like, why is she talking to me? I hold the door. People wouldn't say thank you. I don't care. It's like whatever. At the end of the day, I believe that God created us all in his image. And I look at people as people. I love everybody, regardless of your skin color, your nationality, your rank, your position, your title. It doesn't matter to me. I just love people. Okay. So hopefully that answers your questions. Being black in America is great. That's what it is. It's great being a black woman in America. I am honored and privileged that God believed in me enough to create me in whatever body he gave me, whatever skin color he gave me, as long as he uses me. That's all that matters to me. So that's my answer. All right. Another question that came in was, oh, what did you major in and do with it? Okay, great question. I majored in broadcast communications. And so when I was at James Madison, I majored in broadcast communication. And what I did with it, I used to be like a DJ in school. I did some DJing, and it'd be like, "Music is my pleasure, my yeah, your music is my pleasure," type of thing. And I would do this whole spiel about your listening pleasure is my my pleasure to be your disc jockey and stuff like that. But then I also was a news reporter, and I would go and do these crazy stories where it would be like the fire is jumping the road. And so there, and the fire would literally be jumping the road right behind me while I'm doing my segment. And I did that and I enjoyed that quite a bit. Then I also traveled with Les Brown. When my younger years in my 20s, I would travel all over the place. We would talk about how to start a seminar business and how to tell your story and earn income. That was a lot of fun. Predominantly Caucasians in the audience when we traveled, thousands of people. And I was in pharmaceutical sales and was in that industry for quite a while and did very well. Actually, I won different awards and was a top performer in that regard. And ultimately, when I was a teenager, I would mute the television and read the closed captioning to Oprah and Phil Donahue. And I always wanted to be a talk show host. And so I would mute the television and read the closed caption. And I'd be like, coming to the stage is my friend Gail. And I would go into this whole rigmarole about Gail, my girlfriend, coming to the stage and talking with her. That was a lot of fun. And I ended up auditioning for a role with PBS, and it was like 25 crew members at this old abandoned building, and they had all these lights and cameras, and they had one chair, and they told me, act like it's your 100th show. I came in and auditioned, and I got the part. Daily Balance with Kim Jacobs, filmed at the old Jim and Tammy Faye Baker studio, and that was my first show on PBS. Went to the Word Network as well, NBC. Coca-Cola did some sponsoring of some things and sent me out to do balance makeovers for families. So my broadcast communication degree took me in all of these directions to where I'm now here sitting before you, teaching people how to even start their own virtual shows from scratch. I have a new class starting on November 2nd. So I'm quite excited about that. So if you're interested in learning how to start your virtual show from scratch, I take 5 students in each class, and you are welcome to become a part of this class that's starting. All right. That's my answer to that. Any other questions? And I do have master's and other stuff, other degrees going, but that's just the answer to the broadcast communication ones. All right. That's today's segment of Ask Kim. I have quite a few more questions that's been coming in. So feel free, if you have questions, you can email them to me at Kim. Let me tell you where you can just email me, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. Let me make sure I put this up too. The views expressed are views that were my own as for the Ask Kim segment today, not necessarily that of the show or any shows or networks that I represent. All right. And it was another thing I want to make sure you know. If you do want to ask me any questions, you can email me, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. Or if you're even interested in advertising on the Kim Jacobs Show, you can definitely go right to kimjacobsshow@gmail.com. You can also just ask me questions over there too, whatever way works best for you. All right. But I'm excited about all the questions that's been coming in, and quite a few more have come in. I just will need to do another Ask Kim segment to keep answering all of these great questions that you all have. All right. Any other final comments? Let me see. I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay. These were great questions today. Thank you all so much for allowing me to serve you today in this capacity. And make sure you tune in again tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. God bless you all and have a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure you all support the Kim Jacobs Show. Pour into the broadcast. Take a moment. Have a great one. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard